and I showed them what they make per day if they were doing the activity each day.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes.
Right now, while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
We took our notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies led Craig and I to selling more than $10 million in premium in the last 2 years.
On this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the same results.
Just go to live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
If you jump on this call with us, we're certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.
Well, hello and welcome to another Insurance Dudes podcast agency playbook. So let's dive in. Title here is the Talk Time Accountability. This isn't accountability for yourself. Although if you are doing quotes, if you're on the front end of the career, you're in the trenches, you're making dials, you're doing quotes as the agent, that's fine, right? We're in operator mode and we're lean, maybe one service person, couple salespeople. Kind of depends on what your structure is. There's a million ways to skin the cat, right? But however that's set up, there has to be accountability. So this is what we found when even before, right? So years ago, when I got my agency in 2008, internet leads weren't as much of a thing. It was more lists and then cold calling, that sort of thing. But as we get into the early 2010s, and into the teens, we start to see the advent and huge influx of what we all call in the PNC world, insurance leads. And insurance leads are awesome because they give you quick access to an activity, right? Now, there's a lot of pieces to it. We just did a talk this morning for about 40 agents going over leads, all the activities, and then this checklist that we have, which is at theidudes.com. You can download that checklist, and it is the entire recipe for baking that cake, right? It will give you all the steps that you need in place to get results or maximize results from internet leads. The opposite end of the stick would be to buy internet leads and do none of the things on that checklist. And that is where I was when internet leads first came out. It was about at the spot where I was doing none of those things. And the result that I got was almost nothing. So for a very long time, I hated internet leads, didn't like them. But I'm going to dive into the activity. So some of the activity and then something that I put into place here in the agency for my team for this month. So this is right now is November. So we're running a contest. And if you don't do contests for the team, I encourage you. It's something that we've had a lot of success for. It keeps it fun. You know that this is a pretty monotonous job. And as you evolve in your role from agency operator into agency owner, right? Which is what we want. We want to be able to quote unquote make money while we're sleeping. Once we have a nice enough base and we can separate ourselves a little bit from the day to day, then we can focus on the activities that are going to give us business leverage, right? They're going to leverage our time so that hourly that we're paid out, whether it's $30 an hour, $60 an hour, $100 an hour, however much an hour we're paid out in payroll, we need to use that as the multiplier, right? That's going to give us the ability to clone ourselves and then get results. Now, here's a couple things. When you have a really, really good system in place, a process that helps to bring in opportunities, then your salespeople are going to be much happier. They're going to stay longer. I know we've talked about it, but I can't stress enough how important it is, right? Retaining your people, training those people, and then ensuring that they have results. Huge for retaining and huge for attracting new quality talent. We want to be in the position where we're on offense for that and where we're basically setting ourselves up for success instead of where we're on defense, right? That's not great. So anyway, back to what this is about here, which is contests. So we did a contest and I was racking my brain because we've done spin the wheel based off of bundling. Like if you get X number of cross sells, you get a spin. We have a Wheel of Fortune thing that we spin. We have a Plinko, which is fun. Some fabulous prizes down at the bottom. It could be easy stuff, lunch with the boss, lunch with the manager, lunch for the team, whatever, right? So you can have all kinds of fun things that they like. My team seems to love food. I think a lot of people like food. So if you make that an incentive, it's something that they're going to get as a reward, but something they probably wouldn't have bought had they had to buy it themselves. So that's kind of cool. But what we focused on this month was to bolster talk time. So there's a few things that really make up results for sales agents. 3 activities. And this is really all they need to be doing. At least in our experience, this has been the best use of their time and of our dollars paid for them to do what they do. So it should be quotes. So how many households are they quoting with internet leads? If you're getting 25 to 35 leads a day per producer, then we want to look at that activity. They should be doing 10 quotes. Quoted households. Probably not right at the beginning if you're just starting off, because it's going to take a while for all of that activity to roll. If you have a telemarketing team, they're going to generate some transfers, but those transfers aren't going to get to their peak until a month, 2 months in, right? When that pipeline is fully developed. And it's very critical to not take your foot off the gas with leads. All of a sudden, sometimes when things start humming, then it seems mentally like you may think, I want to save some money, so I'm going to cut back on the leads. Well, what happens is you don't notice anything now, and then in a few weeks, month, you notice a drop off based on that decision. So we got to be careful about that. First is to ensure that they are doing enough quotes. The second thing is to look at the talk time, right? I think that once we know that we have enough quotes, then the next thing, talk time, super valuable, right? Because if we're quoting 10 households or 8 households, then with 8 households, theoretically, 8 good quoted households, we should have 4 hours of talk time, right? Half-hour quote. And that should be the goal, right? That's why we do 10, because some of those are going to be a little bit less. They're going to have some conversations that maybe are just follow-ups. But again, the whole point is to get that talk time to 4 hours. Why? Well, let's look at this. I'll take 2 agents as examples. So we have agent 1, 2 hours of talk time. Agent 2, 4 hours of talk time. Okay. It is costing you twice as much for that agent that is doing 2 hours of talk time as it is for the agent who's doing 4 hours of talk time. How? That doesn't make any sense. You pay the same for them. You pay the same. However, we're only getting half the results. So by default, that person who is doing half of the talk time is going to produce half of the results. And when we get half the results, it's costing us twice as much. So really important to move that needle to the 4 hours. And in order to drive that here in the agency, what I did was create this contest. I said, okay, guys, we're struggling to really consistently hit that 4 hours. Maybe it happens about 20% of the time, but we need it to happen 100% of the time. So what I did was I said, we have 20 work days this month, and you are going to have the opportunity to bump your commission by up to 20%. Okay. 120% of whatever you make in your commission will be paid out. So that means if they made $1,000 commission, they have the opportunity to score an extra $200 on top of that. How? By just doing the activity they need for us to get the results we need from them. And that is each day that they have 4 hours of talk time, they are going to get 0.1% lift. There's a qualifier. They have to have a minimum of 10 days. 10 days as 4 hours. I wanted to make sure that we had, everybody was paying to play. So they have to get at a minimum 10 4-hour days, which would still be more than what they've been doing historically here the last couple months. Again, it's creating the habits, creating the opportunity, right? We have to help motivate them into the right activity because that activity will create the results. I'm less focused on the actual output and more focused on what they're putting into it because over time, we've seen it. 60 million dials. We've seen the results of what happens when the right numbers are being inserted into the telefunnel. So let's take a look at what happened here. So Monday was the last day of the month. Tuesday, first day of the month here. And I announced the contest. 2 of them hit it. 2 of them didn't. Okay. I was somewhat discouraged. I thought they'd come out hot. But what happened was we had a meeting the next day. We talked about how important it is, how you're leaving free money on the table. Why wouldn't you do this? And I even went through and pulled up all of the numbers from last month because we did have a number of people out too many times. And I showed them what they make per day. If they were doing the activity each day, how many quotes they would have. We know how much each quote they do is worth to them because we look at their overall, divide the number of quotes. And I was able to show them that they're leaving tons of money on the table by being out, right? Because they're losing the quotes. If you lose 10 quoted households and you're closing at 10%, well, you're losing another household each day that you're out. Boom, boom, and impacting the consistency of that person's funnel. So you're happy to model that whole thing. If you did get it, just listen to this again. And it's pretty straightforward. But I can tell you that each day of the week, except for the first day of the contest, everybody's hit their number. So it has motivated them, which is awesome, right? All I care about is that they do the thing they need to do so that they get the result, which they will when they do it. And that's it, right? It's just, it's finding creative ways to get results. And again, the most consistent thing that we've found that really takes it from cost, like some branding cost where I'm just spending and maybe I get a result, to actually being able to tie direct results to direct inputs and look at an actual ROI based off of my lifetime value. Well, boom, there it is, right? That's it. Internet leads is the only thing that I've seen. So if you want to learn more, you want to download that checklist. It's on the website, www.theidudes.com. And that is an agency playbook. We'll see you on the next one. Hey, what are you still doing here?
Well, while you're still here and while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
Yeah, if you weren't listening before, we took notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies did help Craig and I write over 10 million in premium in the last couple years.
And let me tell you, on this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the very same results.
Again, that's live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
And if you jump on with us, we are certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.